What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Cat fam. Hope everyone is doing phenomenal today, man. Hope everyone is having a great Wednesday night. You guys already know what time it is, baby. It's time for some week 4 fantasy Q&A here on the channel. We got Steven in the building. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. I think this is going to be the fun time of the year now where, maybe I've been complaining a little too much, but I have felt like it's been a little bit slower of a season so far, points wise. But I really think these offenses are going to really start hitting it up here going forward, kind of after the first quarter of everybody kind of getting their chemistry going. I'm excited for the Thursday night game this week. I'm really excited to see Burrow and Tyreek Hill and Eli Apple. Never thought I'd ever be talking about Eli Apple this much, but dude, it's already going to be a good week. See if the Colts can carry forward that victory against the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm pumped, man.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a good week of football, and I think you make a good point. The first 2 or 3 weeks of the season are always kind of weird, and there's a lot of things, a lot of expectations that we have that don't come true, and vice versa, and just weird football overall because you have this image in your mind of what to expect, and it's like, well, that's not really how it works.
Yeah, you think Najee, and you think some of these guys are going to come out of here and be like absolute machines, and then like 2 weeks in, you're like, holy crap, my entire draft strategy is completely off. But you mentioned about expectations too, and the first thing that comes to mind is Chargers. Like, I was beating the drum on the Chargers defense, and what I'm going to say is not even just talking about their defense, but talking about them. This just follows suit. Like, it looks like the injuries are already starting to pile up, and they just look like the same old Chargers that they've been for a very long time. I know you have shares of Austin Eckler. I'm sure you're not happy at all with what you've gotten. But this Chargers team was a full send for the Super Bowl. Everybody had their tickets on these guys. Their defense on paper is maybe the best defense on paper in the league. They had a great matchup last week against the Jags, and not a great matchup, but I mean, they still should have gotten it done. And I don't know, man. I'm starting to get worried. This AFC West division looks a little bit less exciting than we thought as well.
Yeah, and I tried to make that point in the offseason about the Chargers defense, right? Is like we see this happen, different points, different teams in the offseason where defensively they make a lot of good moves, and on paper they look really good, but it takes time for defenses to mesh. So I kept trying to warn people in your drafts, like, don't go out and get crazy and draft the Chargers defense, unless it's a very last pick of your draft, then whatever, you can still stream. But it takes time, and you're right. The Chargers are injured, like always.
Yeah,
it sucks. Happens. It sucks, but I do think they can get back on track, absolutely. But the Broncos look awful. I hate the Broncos. I'm out on the Broncos.
I know you are. Holy shit. We haven't even talked yet about our personal league, what happened there. I am curious, but I will say the Chargers, really, I just want to, because the Broncos are disgusting. That's a whole other story, right? But let's go back a couple weeks, too, against the Raiders week 1, who were winless. Raiders. They barely won that game. Like, the Raiders were driving at the end of the game. And then after that, it's just, they've been losing. So it's like, maybe the Chargers are really not good.
Which is weird because they did their best game of the season, arguably, is when they, Thursday Night Football against the Chiefs. Yeah. And they competed in that game without Keenan Allen and with Justin Herbert, with banged no ribs, Yeah. So it's they're an interesting team. I still think it's still easier than ever to make the playoffs, and they have a shot still. Don't get me wrong. I'm not counting them out. It's a little bit too early, but I was literally just reading about that last night. This is just year after year what happens with the Chargers. They're a super team. They're ready to take the next step, and then just the injuries just pile up. Bosa's going to miss 4 weeks at least. Which is huge.
Yeah, it's not a good injury too when you're coming off the edge like that, having to bend low. It's just that's kind of an injury that I imagine might nag for a bit. And I know we need to get to the chat soon, but The Broncos, just real quickly, I mean, it looks like you're a full out on these guys. So usually you're kind of a long-term hold dude, but this looks like you have no faith that this is ever going to get corrected.
It can get corrected. Don't get me wrong. And I've been saying it, since last weekend. There's two aspects here, right? A is Courtland Sutton is the guy to start within this offense from a fantasy perspective.
Only consistent player right now.
Yeah. And the other thing is, this is a big weekend, not just for the Broncos, but for a lot of teams, in my opinion, in terms of fantasy and how we evaluate things. 4 weeks is like we have a large enough sample size. But this matchup this weekend, Broncos at Raiders, is big. Like, the Raiders look bad. The defense does not look good. The offense doesn't look that good as well in comparison to what we thought they could be. And the Broncos, if they come out and they play like they have the last 3 weeks against this Raiders team, then that's like the final straw for me. So
I think the Raiders can win this game too, because
sure.
This is a back against the wall, winless. I know some people were talking about the Broncos defense in the defense video comments, and my only concern here is that Derek Carr and Adams and this offense, they've been getting it somewhat done, right? And Carr is still getting it done, I think. Maybe not fantasy wise, but this is not a team I really want to go against when their back's against the wall. I think they can win this game. And sure. I don't like the Broncos in this matchup, to be honest with you. And Daniel Carlson, he's the best player in the AFC West. Holy shit, man. He's getting like 10 points a game.
Mac Hollins is balling too,
Fantastic.
He's doing well. So, I would say in a discussion for me is I still like the Chiefs the most in that division, which I tried to say all off season. They have Mahomes, they have Andy Reid. Like, don't count this team out, All right, let's hop in the chat. Let's get some live Week 4 fantasy Q&A going. You all know what to do, baby. Hit that like button on the way in. Hit that subscribe button, of course, if you're new to the channel. Hop in the live chat. Let us know what's popping. Everybody starts, sits, trades, waiver wire, quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, kickers, defense, roster ratings, whatever you guys need, whatever it may be. Hop in the live chat. Let us know we are here for you guys. All right, let's see who's in the building. Albert, what's up, man? Hello. What's going on? We got Chase in the house. What's up, Chase? Good to see you. Good to have you here. Albert, Anthony in the house. What's up, man? Jay Dawes, what's up, baby? How are you doing? Chase, trade JJ and gave up Sutton and Mike Evans. Thoughts? My wide receivers are Diggs, Bateman, Godwin, and Judy. So, or trade for JJ, give up Sutton, Mike Evans. So you'd have Diggs, JJ, Bateman, Godwin, Judy. Sure.
I would take that, especially just because you have Godwin and Judy there too, honestly.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
I like Sutton right now. I think Evans will be fine on the season. At least you can keep a piece of that offense with Godwin. But like Diggs and JJ, like you're solidified at wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. And then Bateman's a great flex. Hopefully Godwin can get healthy and Judy can get back to what we saw in week 1. Jeet, what's up, man? What's up? We got Emil in the building. What's up? Trevor, what's up, my guy? Hello. I'm making to go. We asked you in the beginning of the year to rate my 12 people PPR. You ready to 6.5? How about now? I must have been really trying to be harsh because I'm usually
yeah, I've never seen John give someone like a
10. Justin Herbert, Henry, Fournette, Pierce, Michael Carter, Williams, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Lockett, Curtis Samuel, and Kittle. Yeah, I don't have a problem with this team.
Yeah, that team. I could see why maybe there was a little bit of hate because the Cooper, Lockett, Samuel, and Williams. But yeah, those guys kind of turned up.
I mean, Herbert, Henry, and Fournette are your starters, and you got Allen Cooper. Then you got a beautiful option at the flex position. So yeah, it's a good overall team. Yeah, we'll give you a 9.
You should have been like, I'll give you a 6.6.
6.6. No, seriously, it's a good team, man. I mean, Cooper's player I was out on in the offseason.
What the hell is going on with Amari Cooper, dude? He's like Randy Moss out there, dude. Jacoby Brissett is like Tom Brady in 2007. This is crazy.
Cooper's playing good football for sure. Yeah. Shout out to Spencer. He tried to get on me all offseason, and he was right on that one. I have Eckler and Brandon Cooks for Barkley. Should I trade? You can. I think you should be able to still get a second piece out of this trade. Barkley's playing phenomenal football right now. He's playing better than Eckler from a fantasy perspective. Cooks isn't doing much anything, but I would rebuttal and at least try and get like they're gonna have to drop a player. If you're trading a 2-for-1, just get their worst receiver. Try and get a second piece out of this would be my opinion. But I don't hate the trade. I mean, Barkley's is RB1 in PPR. Go ahead, Steven.
No, yeah, sorry about that. I was just gonna say, I mean, Cooks isn't like necessarily putting up numbers yet, but the target share is there, the volume's been there. It's just not really turning into like any production, which this Texans offense has been really bad. But I mean, I think I would stay with Cooks and Eckler unless like you really have like a ton of depth at receiver and you can afford to do it.
Yeah, and of course it depends on your whole roster here, but I'm not opposed to going out and getting Saquon, but I will say I'm not off of Eckler either. Steven talked about that at the beginning of the stream. I'm not disappointed in Eckler. I mean, like, I still view him as an RB1. If he played full PPR, he'd be performing a lot better. So, you should change your league to full PPR, Steven. T-Crip, what's up, man? Doing good. How's your night, man? I need to in full PPR, CPAT, MT if he plays Deontay or Devonta Smith. I go MT if he suits up in Devonta Smith. But Deontay's still a really safe floor, and I do like CPAT this week. But I think you can't bench Devonta Smith after last week, and I still am a fan of Michael Thomas right now.
Bro, you know what I'm going to say right now? This is an early pick here. I don't think I'm willing to stream a whole lot of receivers against Gardner, the sauce man.
Okay.
Dude, he locked up Chase, bro, and he's been locking up everybody since like high school, bro. Like I think this guy's the dude for the Jets, man.
I hope so. I'm always rooting for a new young corner.
So he's got that Ramsey-esque type of vibe, bro.
Yeah. Did you see oh gosh, who was he guarding last week? Who did the Jets play last week?
The Bengals.
Yeah, so he's on Chase and he breaks up a pass and he did a snow angel after.
Oh, I didn't see that.
He fell on his back and then he did a snow angel and then I don't know, one of the interviews he was like, I don't know why I did that. It's not snowing, but I just felt like doing it. And I was like, let's go.
Dude, he's a stud, man. He's such a stud.
And like Deontay should get the targets to where in full PPR, like his floor is safe, but his ceiling is capped. Like if you're on the Steelers right now, your ceiling's capped. So I would definitely go Devonta Smith. MT, if MT doesn't play, Patterson, and then Deontay is probably last. I agree with that. Also, Steven, Chargers lost me my matchup. Lost by just under 6 points. Chargers give me -6. Having a hard time trusting them again this week despite playing the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about it a minute ago. The Chargers really disappointed me. I mean, dude, it just once Bosa went down, Herbert had the turnover in the beginning. It was like, this is off to a really bad start. Jags kind of showed us a lot of things. They showed us this team might be for real. I'm still willing to put the Chargers out there because the matchup is still good. And I think Davis Mills has been struggling more recently too, over the last 2 games in particular. But I get it. Look, man, they burnt you. I would definitely try to go get the Packers if you could, but I imagine you probably can't.
Yeah. It depends on who's out there, but I'm not out on the Chargers this week necessarily as well, but it's just hard after last week. But that's like one thing you have to understand about streaming defenses is like you can't look at the previous week. We're moving on to the next matchup, and you can go from -6 to 10 points, 12 points like that.
Ben, I mean, John, think about this. Week 1, the Dolphins had 17 points. Week 2, they have -14. And then week 3, they bounce back and have a pretty good performance. So, I mean, defenses, they disperse kind of randomly at times. And I think at this game, the Chargers as a whole just did not freaking show up. They just didn't even come to play.
It just wasn't their day. And talking about the Jaguars kind of humming, the interesting thing there is like the defense is playing all right too.
Really good defense. Really
That's
good.
That's the surprising part. Rank the quarterbacks that can start: Russ, Goff, Winston. I mean, truthfully, I'm probably going Goff, Winston, Russ. I really don't like. I don't like Russ this weekend, but you could probably go Russ over Winston. Like Winston's banged up; he might not even play. It's a London game.
Yeah, I don't like London games.
London games are like I talked about this in the receiver video. Like, not really a lot of in between. Like, either high scoring or low scoring, and you just wake up and the game's over most of the time.
Yeah.
I don't hate Winston this week, but and I like Goff, but it's interesting. Like we just talked about, the Jaguars defense playing all right. The Seahawks defense is actually playing all right too.
Yeah, good fantasy numbers.
And Goff might be without Swift and without Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like their run game will be fine, but it's still not Swift out there. And Amon-Ra being out is pretty big. So I like Goff as a streaming option, but I don't love him as much as I usually do if those two guys are out.
John, just say it. Just say his name. Say the Russell Dangerous man.
I mean, it is a pretty good matchup on paper for Russ, but like,
he's so dreadful.
the Broncos are just trash, dude.
They're not fun to watch, and that's another thing. It's like this is fantasy football. You wanna watch the game, and those guys you can't watch them. Their game.
It's hard because, like I said earlier in the stream, this is a big game for me in terms of how I evaluate the Broncos moving forward. If they come out and they put up a performance like the last three performances, then I'm safe to say I don't like starting any of these guys, but it's a good matchup versus the Raiders, and they could finally have that game that we've been waiting for. But Russell Wilson's QB 24 in fantasy right now, so let's just take a look at the other two guys. Goff is QB 11, okay, and Jameis is QB 15. So is it crazy to say I like Goff and Winston more? No. But it's just tough here because, like I said, the matchup is good. I'd probably go Goff.
They're also their record, they're 2-1 now, and so it's as bad and as incompetent as it's looked to the fans. Who knows? Maybe they're comfortable with what they're doing. I mean, Mike Boone, maybe he's the guy. Maybe Mike Boone's the guy, dude. I don't know.
I hate the Broncos. They lost me in my matchup. Tyler, if you're listening, I hate you.
That was the worst loss I've ever seen in my life, by the way. That was pretty bad.
Oh, that's pretty bad. I mean, even Javonte got targeted on the 2-point conversion.
Oh, I saw that shit. I saw, and Russell threw it terribly.
Yeah, and it's why did you just kick the point?
Give it to you.
It's bad. Smoking the cat. What's up, baby? I have Monty and claimed Herbert from waivers. Was offered Pierce for Herbert. Thoughts? Okay, here's the aspects here, right? Herbert's a handcuff, a very valuable handcuff. But I also think there's a big chance Herbert we could start to see an Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard type split for Monty and Herbert just has value even if Monty's healthy. The other aspect here is Damien Pierce is an RB1 for the Texans, so you could just scoop up Pierce, who doesn't have a cap ceiling for many other players, in my opinion. I think the Pierce train is going now, so I don't hate this, but Herbert's very valuable to you because you have Montgomery. You own that backfield now, so I'm not against the trade.
I like Pierce because we can for sure say you can bank on a guy getting a ton of touches, and he's been good with his touches. Yeah. Herbert, I do think. I mean, Monty might play this week, and it will be kind of like that Pollard Zeke role, and that's not something I'd sign up for if I could get a guy like Pierce.
Sure, I'd probably go Pierce. Yeah, because if Monty doesn't start eating the carries, then you have Monty and you have Pierce, right? Eagles, Rams, and Colts are on waivers. I would probably take a chance on the Eagles.
Yeah, I like the Eagles and then probably the Rams there. Guys, I can't stress it enough. With the Colts, the Colts really put themselves in a place to lose that game last week, and the Titans and Colts always split every time, I feel like, when they play. Yeah. So I'm not a full send on the Colts yet. We need to see more from them. But I do think this is the hardest matchup the Jags are going to have with this Eagles D line and defensive front. Man, this is probably the second most anticipated game on my end outside of the Bills Ravens. I think this is going to be a fun one.
It's the revenge game for Dougie.
Dougie P. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good game too.
Yeah.
Pick 3: Evans, Devonta Smith, Adams, and Pittman.
Kitty City, Evans, and Adams.
I want Devonta Smith in my lineup right now.
Is it because you benched him when he's popped? Like, what's like? You really like this guy now, man. He's cooking, dude. It's
cooking. Not really about Devonta Smith. It's like the Eagles' offense in general needs to be in your lineup. Like Smith, Brown, Hurts, Goddard, and even Miles Sanders, like all need to be in your lineup on a weekly basis. Sanders, there's arguments there, but like last week was a little bit down, but he's a solid flex, you know. But yeah, the main guys, Goddard, Smith, Brown, and of course Hurts, which is not a question if you own him, right? Like they need to be in your lineup.
Dude.
Yeah,
he's so good.
But like I'm looking at a couple matchups here, like Bucks, Chiefs. I like Evans in that game script. Adams, I like Adams has found the end zone every week. You know, like his ceiling is tampered, but he's still finding the end zone. You know, he's got 3 touchdowns through 3 games. This is tough. He could really bench any of these guys. I don't hate Stevens, route of going Evans, Adams, and Pittman, but I kind of
it's a little bit more vanilla, I think, but it's just kind of like I think the targets are going to be heavy on these Stevens.
It's like, yeah, I like Pittman against the Titans. I like Adams versus the Broncos, and I like Evans versus the Chiefs, and I like Smith versus the Jags. So it is tough. It is tough here. Man, my heart is
place to be.
It is
place to be where you're at, man. This is great.
You can't really go wrong. I might bench Adams. Like
that's pretty intense. I mean,
I know.
I feel like Derek Carr's like obsessed with him right now, but yeah, I understand it. I mean, I'm definitely starting Pittman. I can say that just because it's either Pittman or Jelani Woods. So
this is like the hardest fantasy question I've ever been asked. Maybe you bench Smith because he's not the number 1 target. Another 3 are, but you're in a great position. Start all those guys. Ask your commissioner to add an extra flex. Can I send you my lineup and tell you who to start? Of course. Godfather, what's up, man? Good to have you here. Ranked quarterbacks: Russ, Goff, T-Law, Mariota, and Winston. Oh gosh, I'd probably go Goff. I mean, like if we're just looking purely at this week, because believe it or not, T-Law's starting to climb up my rankings, but I don't love him this week versus the Eagles. I don't hate him, but I don't love him. I probably go Goff, Russ. I'm starting to climb back up on Russ this week.
Just with these options, really. I mean, you can only bring your hate so far.
I probably still put Trevor Lawrence 3rd, but you just have to understand the risk. He's going up against a really good defense. Carson Wentz had like 30 fantasy points the first 2 weeks of the season, and then he had 8. So it's like T-Law's been playing good football, but this could be a tougher week for him. Or he could really show out, which I would love to see. Then I probably just put Mariota and Winston last because you just don't get a consistent product there. I'd probably go Goff if it was Goff or Russ. If it was
I think you go Goff just because he's gonna be throwing a shit ton of passes. It's just the Lions game script is always something I want a part of fantasy wise.
And they get the
Seahawks, like DJ Chark, is great. Freaking Reynolds is great. Like there's just so many random people you can plug in and play just because opportunities are going to be there.
The only thing that worries me is like Reynolds is hurt too. So if Reynolds, Swift, and Amon-Ra don't play, then this offense is very different. The run game will be fine. It's not the same. Like Swift is a different type of running back than Jamal Williams and Craig Reynolds, who are still very good running backs. But the receiving room is going to be hurt.
It's pretty dead. Yeah.
Chark and Reynolds not being out there hurts. So
is Reynolds for sure out?
He's not. I mean, none of those three guys are for sure out, but Swift is probably out.
Yeah.
And Amon-Ra has a high chance of being out. So.
Bro, that's the thing with Swift, man. We said it all off season. It's just what he does, dude. He's so good, and he's like a flash in the pan, dude. When he's good, I mean, like when he's playing, he's the best player on the field. But then he's hurt, and he's never gonna play a full season. That's just how he does it.
Yeah, it sucks. I'm keeping my eye on Craig Reynolds this week behind Jamal Williams. So, Sutton or Lamb this week, full PPR. I'd probably go Sutton, but I like Lamb. So, I mean, like I tried to talk about this last week. Like, I'm not out on Lamb, especially in full PPR, and he had his best game of the season. He gets the Commanders. Like, he could easily go Lamb here.
Yeah.
I might actually go Lamb over Sutton, but Sutton's playing pretty good football right now.
It's a good matchup. Man, dude.
Yeah.
That drop, though, by Lamb, that was kind of shitty last week.
Yeah, but then he made up for it, one-handed touchdown. But he should have had a bigger game and potentially two touchdowns.
But we need to see him be more consistent. I mean, the team has said that, and we need to see that because this guy could be a true alpha number one.
And, like, with your team without your starting quarterback, like, those are plays you have to make.
Step up. Yeah, step up.
Looking at trade for Kamara, I will say Kamara, I've seen a couple trades where Kamara is being moved right now. He is a pretty easy trade target to acquire.
Do you want him?
No.
Yeah,
I don't personally.
I don't really want any shares.
It's kind of similar to like Javonte Williams. Like, what are the Saints doing with their usage of Kamara? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I don't. If you can get Kamara at the right price, I don't hate him. But he's no more than a flex. I talked about it last week in the running back video. Like, I can't recommend Kamara as anything more than a flex right now.
Jeez, that's just how fast it happens, right? And then and correct me if something has developed that I haven't heard about. But if this suspension ever does hit, whether it's like the very end of the season or next year, like we could effectively see Alvin Kamara really take a downturn in his career. If he has a bad year this year and then is out for a significant amount of time, I mean, that sucks. Just like that, it's over,
Yeah. It's definitely true with the way that position moves so quickly, man.
For dynasty owners out there who have shares of them, it's a little scary.
Sure. What's up, Jane? Hello. Pray, hello. Steven reminds me of when a fast food place forgets your fries or sauces.
Dude, this is a little bit on topic. There was like a McDonald's place like selling like drugs in their cheeseburgers or something, dude. Like typical Mickey D's, dude. Shout out.
Oh, I thought there was more of that story, but
that's it, dude. I just thought that was like absolutely crazy.
Flex Gibson, Bateman, Dillon, or Pierce, leaning Gibson or Bateman. Gibson has dominated the Cowboys recently. Yeah, I like Gibson this week. He still got you double-digit points last week in a bad overall offensive performance, but I go Bateman.
He just falls into the end zone, but I think Bateman's a solid play.
I love this matchup, Ravens-Bills this week. Like,
it's gonna be fun.
The Bills secondary is banged up. The Ravens are just throw it on us. We're good with it. We got Lamar.
Score 60. We'll score 62.
Yeah, it's like their secondary. I was looking at like PFF has both Marcus Peters and
Marlon Humphrey.
Thank you. It's just coming to my head. I promise. Marlon Humphrey, like in the top 5 in their cornerback rankings, and it's like those two guys aren't being targeted. It's like there's, and then even Kyle Hamilton is playing pretty well also, but somehow like when those three are not involved, the rest of the defense is giving up like a massive amount of yardage. So, and really their run game hasn't played that well either. But then teams aren't having to run against them,
And there's something to be said to like give up that kind of yardage to Waddle and Hill. And there's another thing to be said to let Mac Jones slice and dice you.
Yeah.
Like that was like where
Mac Jones is balling.
I was like, all right, full stream ahead against these guys at any chance.
They are not a viable defense at all. But yeah, I go Bateman there. Do you think I should trade Zeke and Edmonds for Najee? You can, but you just have to understand, like I think Najee brings a safe floor every single week, but he's not bringing a ceiling. Like this offense is capping him, but as long as he's healthy, he's fine. And it's not like Zeke and Edmonds just inconsistent, So Najee's at least consistent, so I don't hate it.
I'd probably make that deal for like both like to consolidate players that I'm not really that interested in, but also because I do think there is a world where Kenny Pickett comes in and maybe there's a little bit of an uptick in the offense. I know that's kind of wish casting a little bit, but I do think Kenny Pickett is a much better player than Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah,
I think he can at least throw the ball better than Mitchell Trubisky.
I mean, yeah, I'm a little disappointed.
He had a great preseason, dude. He had a great preseason. He looked fantastic.
Mitch the bitch has really disappointed me. And it's only a matter of time before they have to put Pickett in. So
the fans want it. The fans definitely want it.
Oh, they love him. Yeah.
Yeah.
You think I should start Amon-Ra this week if he's playing? I got Pittman and Higgins. I still think if Amon-Ra is healthy, he's in your lineup no matter what.
Yeah.
Bigger ceiling than Pittman or Higgins, who are both phenomenal receivers. And Higgins did catch that ball last week. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh yeah.
I got cheated by out of a win last week, but
I got cheated off of that too. It counted against me as well.
Oh, well, it's more serious.
Yeah.
Is EK
Eckler? I guess
Eckler for Pollard and Evans a good trade? I don't hate it. I would probably hold Eckler though if you're trading him away.
I wouldn't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
unless you have like 5 running backs that you feel really good about. I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the right depth and you need receiver up, it's not crazy, but it is so crazy, dude. Eckler is RB13 in full PPR. Guess what he is in standard?
It's 17.
32.
Oh, standard. Oh yeah, standard. Yeah, sorry, I was like
half PPR. He's probably somewhere in the middle. Like it's just crazy. Full PPR, he's still playing fine.
But this is why I don't like full PPR. It's like somebody can just like dominate by just getting like little dump off passes and falling down. Like that's not football.
I'm not.
Dude, this is a whole nother podcast.
I'm not having this discussion, dude. I'm not. We're on the go. What's up, man? Hello. Trying to get rid of Gibson. What's the best possible package I could get for him? I need someone giving low end RB2 value, 12-man full PPR. So Blake,
I tried.
Yeah, you kind of have to look around your own league and look at who needs a running back. It's going to be like kind of hard to trade Gibson straight up for another running back. And I personally, I don't think we need to panic on Gibson and get him off our teams right now, to be honest. Like, we're still making like the same assumption that we made coming in the season, right? Which is like Brian Robinson's here, McKissick's here. They drafted a rookie the year before, and Gibson's not going to be relevant. And I get that Robinson has missed time, but regardless, that's not the situation we're in. And I do think there's something to be said about like riding the hot hand at the running back position. And I'm not going to be surprised if Gibson is still heavily involved in this offense, even when Robinson comes back. So we're still playing a hypothetical, like Robinson's back and healthy, and so Gibson's not relevant. And I just don't know if that's exactly going to happen. So, but to kind of answer your question here and to get off my tangent, I think James Conner is actually pretty affordable right now, unless he has a good game this weekend. I think
package.
Sure, that's fine. With the draft value involved, probably. I think Montgomery is probably pretty affordable right now with the injury. Breece Hall is still probably somebody you can go after. A.J. Dillon's very affordable right now because he's also banged up. Miles Sanders is a name. Clyde Edwards-Helaire and or Josh Jacobs are probably in the mix. CH is still coming in as RB5, RB4 in full PPR, so maybe not as affordable.
That's a fluffed out number, man. That's a fluffed out number.
Well, I like CH. I think he's pretty good at football.
Hey, bro. I got to share of him.
Yeah, so, those are a couple names that you could potentially, but like Steven said, one or two of those guys you might have to package for.
Dude,
so.
It's hard as hell to trade Gibson if you're in a league with people who are aware of kind of what's going on the Commanders. And I would just say keep your eyes open to maybe trading for not a running back. Like if you really don't want him on your team, like you might need to just package to go upgrade somewhere else.
Yeah. If I trade Javonte for CMC straight up, is that a bad trade?
Not happening. It's just not happening. I don't think.
No, I would take CMC in a heartbeat. I mean,
Yeah,
Steven, we could have
you
worked
want to
that
make
out.
that. You want to make that trade, John?
So,
I'll exchange you. Let's see, Baker Mayfield for Russell Wilson, I guess. Or actually, you already shipped him off to Ben.
Right? Wait, which player?
You shipped off Javonte over to Benji.
Oh yeah. That's what I was saying. We could have done that if you wanted to. You know, you didn't want to though. I love Chase. He's a must start. So for wide receiver 2, either St. Brown if he plays Pittman or Higgins. I go St. Brown. Yeah. If he plays. If he doesn't, you can really go that other player. I might go Pittman versus the Titans though.
Yeah.
I mean,
that secondary is pretty hot garbage.
Yeah, they're bad. Traded J-Rob, Hollywood Pierce for JT. Wow. Did I win my league or did I give too much? It depends on the rest of your roster, but it is a lot to give up. As good as JT is. And like I'm not out on JT. But J-Rob is I know he's
good right now. He's pretty good right now.
He's RB3. And
what's he in standard?
3 as well, actually. Pierce is 33, but he's like on the up and up. Then Hollywood is wide receiver 7 or 8. I can tell you wide receiver 8 full PPR. So on the flippity flop, JT is coming in as RB10 in full PPR. So you probably could have got a second piece here, but the name value, the draft value, like you probably won the trade in that respect, but you definitely could have got a second player here.
Yeah.
So it depends on the rest of your roster. I would have held personally because I like depth. I would have held J-Rob, Pierce, and Hollywood personally, but you may have won your league. You never know.
Just as being somebody who watches the Colts and roots for it, what we're doing with JT is a little bit just very confusing. So I'm not as high on JT. I mean, he's still like the guy, but man, shoot, what it was last week before that, I said there's no way he's not like the top 2 or 3 running back. Now I'm like, holy shit, man, let's just finish, top 5, 8.
I mean, 27.5 against Houston, then 7.3 against Jacksonville, then 12.1 against Kansas City. Against Tennessee, Denver, Jacksonville again, then Tennessee again, Washington, New England, Las Vegas. There's some good matchups. There's some tough matchups in there.
It's just we have to use him. That's the biggest thing.
And the offense as a whole is like
terrible. Like the worst offense in the league.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
I know we're way behind. We're doing our best here. Would Zeke and CH be too much to give for Mixon? I don't think so. But CH, like I said, you gotta make the argument here. He's still coming in as RB5 at the moment. Like you can get an extra player here because Mixon's not.
And he's banged up right now.
He's always banged up.
Yeah, well, that's what. Yeah, I mean, that's the last season was like his first season where he was like healthy the whole way through. It felt like.
He's RB16, and then Elliott is RB38. So, like, you can get a second player out of this.
John, would you buy the Bengals dip, or are you feeling like this Bengals offense is not going to be nearly what they were last year?
I'd buy the Bengals dip for sure. Yeah. They're going to step it up. But I said it last week, like, they're going to come out against the Jets and they're going to ball out.
Yeah.
They had moments in that game that weren't as good, but, like,
they're still getting sacked a lot.
They are. This offensive line that we thought was a huge improvement in the offseason has not been one.
Yeah.
Which is not good for Burrow because he's getting slapped around like crazy.
I'm worried he's going to get hurt this season.
Yeah, I am too. And I don't want to see that at all. Hollywood Brown, Pitts, and Herbert for Deontay and Andrews, who wins. I will say, like, this is a fine trade, right? Like, Andrews is involved. If he can get Andrews, like at some point, this pace is probably going to slow down for Andrews. But there's no way he doesn't finish in the top 2. I'm just saying, like, He has 2 games this season already where he's over 35 points in full PPR.
Dude, it's just Lamar and him.
Yeah,
It's the only team. And like the way Lamar plays, like Mark Andrews can just, it's just like Travis Kelce and Mahomes, where Andrews can just run around and get open, and then Lamar can only throw it to him.
Yeah. I mean, I'll look at it this way. Pitts and Herbert for Andrews is fair, and Deontay for Hollywood is a drop-off, but it's bearable. Like, if you're in full PPR, Deontay still has gotten you double-digit points every week of the season, so it's bearable. It's just this, like, Hollywood's ceiling's up here, Deontay's is down here, So, but Andrews is involved, and I would like, you just got to think about the positional matchup on a weekly basis. If you have Andrews versus your opponent who has Pitts, you have a higher chance of winning because you own Andrews. So, but you know what I was thinking about, Steve? I wish I took a tight end number 1 overall in our league.
Dude, it happens like every year where we're wondering about it. We're saying, no, it can't be it. And then it's like, oh, yeah, we should have done that,
Should have just taken Kelce or Andrews. We had a keeper league, so it's like I was limited.
In the future, it's 3 or 4 tight ends, and I'm not drafting any, Yeah.
I'd rather – actually, I'm happy with Goddard. Like, I got Goddard in, like, the 8th round. And he's top 5.
That was good value for him, though.
Yeah, that was great. And I actually like Pat Freiermuth. You still you dropped him. Gosh.
I mean, I have Everett. Everett's solid too.
That's pretty similar. Yeah. Hello, Andrew. How are you doing? Hello. Playing Steven this week. Gonna need some help, Big John.
Okay, chill out over there. All right, piece of shit.
He was already texting me today at like the most inconvenient time, and then getting mad at me when I wasn't responding right away.
Oh my gosh, she sent me a bunch of texts too. I'm gonna poison your soup.
Jane, there's no way to set your lineup yet because you have Monty, Allen, and Swift. You gotta wait a little bit.
I'm gonna pay all of them to miss that game.
And actually, Jane's team is pretty good. Actually,
her team is sick, dude.
But she somehow manages to lose.
And that's Hopkins.
Need one. Mixon versus Miami, Williams versus Seattle, Pierce versus Chargers. I mean, I'll say personally, if Swift doesn't suit up, I'd probably go Jamal Williams here.
Yeah. I like Mixon too, man. But
I need to. I will say, like, I like the Miami's defense, but I'm not a big fan of Thursday night. Like, Thursday night matchups are similar to London games. Like, there's not really any in between. Yeah. Like, the defenses either show up and it's like, remember that Ravens-Dolphins game last year?
It's yucky ducky, yeah.
Or it's like a lot of points get scored,
But, yeah, I think this defense, though, in Miami, the main way they're going to get their points is, beating Burrow over the head. But I think Mixon can still get his touches. But, yeah, ultimately, if Swift's totally out, I think Williams is the play.
Yeah, I like him this week for sure. So I'd probably go with Williams there. All right, let me see. Let's try and get caught up. What's going on in Ignatius? Conklin or Schultz in PPR?
Conklin for president.
I probably go Schultz if he's healthy. I think Schultz is going to bounce back just fine.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm trying to hammer this. We talked about tight ends last night a lot, actually. I don't know what Conklin looks like with Wilson at quarterback. And we don't know what any of the Jets offensive players look like with Zach Wilson at quarterback. I'm not saying it's a bad change. I'm just saying the production and what we've gotten was with Joe Flacco quarterback, and the offense can completely change. So, like, I think Elijah Moore could be in a good position here. That's about it. Like, but Conklin and Flacco had really good chemistry, like in the preseason after Wilson got hurt. And I'm not saying to necessarily count him out, but I just don't like the starting Jets players this week. Like, I want to see what happens outside of like Breece Hall and maybe Carter.
Yeah. I think this could be the week for Breece. I think this is the breakout for him.
Okay.
And when you saw last week, they really kind of felt like gave it to him. And then going up against Pittsburgh, that was looking terrible last week, as you know. I don't know. This could be the week.
I don't hate that. I do like Hall, but I'm just saying the receiving room in Conklin, I would sit. I would go Schultz here for sure if he's healthy. If he's not healthy, then roll the dice on Conklin, I guess. If Jaguars put a major point against Eagles, they've made it a moral victory for sure.
That's the Bengals of this season, man. I put a Super Bowl ticket on that just in case.
Why not? I traded Gibson, Cooper, and Jones for Evans, Damien Harris. Did I win this? Cook, Chubb, Debo, Brown, Evans at flex to Gibson. I would rather have the Gibson, Cooper, Jones side personally.
Whoa, wait. I traded. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I would take that side. I mean, you have Cook, Chubb, Debo, Brown, then now you have Evans instead of Gibson at the flex. I'd rather have Gibson than Damien Harris personally, and Cooper was a pretty strong flex option. Not that Evans is a bad flex option, but it's not an awful trade. If Gibson really does dip in production, then Damien Harris is not going to be too much of a difference. And you basically have Evans over Coop. But I just feel like this should have been a 3-for-3 trade. You didn't gain anything of insane value. Like Cooper is playing better football than Mike Evans right now. So
Marvin Jones is just so random.
Yeah. I mean, it's not off. Like he's hit or miss every week. If he finds end zone, it's a good stat line. But
yeah,
I feel like you could have got a third player here. But your lineup's fine. So that's a good part. Should I start Pierce or Herbie? I do like Herbert this week, regardless of if Monty plays or not, because the Giants last week were just letting Zeke and Pollard shred them.
Crazy. Yeah.
But I'd probably still go Pierce. AJ Dillon versus New England or Robinson. I still go Robinson here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. AJ Dillon disappointed right now.
Ooh, that Robinson, that's gonna be tough, bro.
I
these
don't
are
bench
really hard matchups, man.
I don't bench Robinson right now, though. You just can't. You can't. He's RB3.
That's not a matchup I want, though, at all.
I get that. Yeah, I mean, I still go
against the Cox, man.
Still go Robinson.
Yeah.
All it takes is one touchdown, and he has a respectable stat line. AJ Dillon has been bad, man.
Yeah.
Chicago or Cleveland or Arizona week 4.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like Chicago, but
yeah, especially because this whole Garrett thing came out, man. I am pivoting over to Chicago in this one. It was like the defense video dropped, and then Garrett got in a car accident. I was like, come on, dude. You serious with it?
Yeah. How do you feel about Arizona this week? Because I think they could be a decent stream too.
I don't trust them necessarily, man.
That's fine.
I understand it, but I'd rather take Chicago here. I think there's levels to the depths, and I think I'd rather stream the Giants or Chicago rather than Arizona.
That's fair. Hey, Spence.
Mr. Meister. What's up, Spence?
Spencer. Didn't get a clear answer. Who wins? The Andrews side.
Yeah.
Go Andrews. Yeah.
Yes.
Pierce or Herbert? I think we just hit that right. That's I go here. I would say Pierce. Stevens says Herbert. Both are fine though. Both are fine.
You know what I'm sick of seeing on the waivers at the top of my waivers? Rex Burkhead. Can we just cross him off the waivers? Just get him out of the sleeper.
He's projected 10 points every week.
I don't want him in there anymore. Just get rid of him.
You really got CMC for Javonte?
That's a good deal, man. It's a very good deal, Ron.
I'll take that all day. I don't even care who the quarterback is. 10-team PPR got Mariota, Eckler, Cook, Williams, Higgins, Waddle, Pitts, have Devonta Smith, Dotson, Garrett Wilson, Freiermuth. Any suggestions who to start week 4? I mean, you can consider Freiermuth over Pitts, but I probably still go Pitts here. I like your lineup how it is. You can throw Devonta Smith in there, maybe over Higgins if you want, but Higgins is fine. Do you have a flex? If you have a flex, then Devonta Smith should be in the flex.
Well, yeah, because
you're starting.
Cook might go down.
Backs.
Well, Cook might go down, right? He might not play this week, so then you're gonna suit up Williams, and then I just say you run through receivers here.
Yeah, I think Cook is gonna play. I think he's going to play. But the question is, does he have to exit the game? But
yeah,
he played through this last year. I think he'll be all right, to be honest. Some combination of Eckler, Cook, Williams, Higgins, Waddle, and Smith. And there is a chance Freiermuth scores more points than Pitts, but Pitts is fine. Pick 2, Williams, Patty, Connor, Gabe.
Gabe Davis, baby.
I do think it's bounce back week for Gabe Davis.
Great matchup, man.
This is
I
the type
swear,
of matchup.
if Isaiah McKenzie outperforms Gabe Davis in this week.
Yeah, I probably still go Gabe Davis, and I might go CPAT. Yo, dude, we're there is no regression for Cordero Patterson.
I know he's exactly the same, man. I almost wore his jersey tonight, man. I'm gonna go with the guy you just traded though for this week. I just think the matchup's nice, but I'll probably go with Davis and Williams. But dude, yeah, Cordero Patterson, cheese. He's the big boy here. I love him.
He has at least 22 fantasy points in 2 out of 3 matchups this week.
Yeah,
or this year, excuse me. Just saying, man. Just saying. I'm out on Javonte. We all know John has no idea what he's talking about. Steven Sparks.
Wait, John, can you do it the live Brainiac again? The Brainiac of the bunch.
we got John here, the leader of the bunch, and Steven, the Brainiac of the bunch. That was our intro for our first episode of it ever on the channel.
But the tone was like amazing. It's so great.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
We watched that on
that was fun.
The 1,000 sub.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
Should I trade Swift to get Carter and Doobie? No, that's a bad trade. No.
Am I trying to trade for that? I feel like that's a trade I would offer somebody.
Wait, you have both those players, right?
Yeah. I'm not trading the Doobs yet. I just picked him up, but I've been trading Carter for kickers at this point, trying to get him off my team.
Is Mixon, Allen, Judy for Barkley too much? Probably. Yeah. I mean, Barkley's RB1 right now. Don't get me wrong, but a 3-for-1 trade is like you have to have the right depth. I mean, if you're not starting Mixon, Allen, and Judy, and you feel really good about your roster, and you feel like there's good enough players out there on the waiver, and like you're 3-0, then you can consider this, but this is probably going to hurt your roster if you do it.
Yeah, and you're trading for a guy with an injury history.
That is the other aspect. Yeah.
And a giant. I don't like this trade.
Their offensive line looks good, but it's just like the passing game is going to take even more of a step back with Shepard out for the season. So
I think my biggest concern with Barkley for the full season, and I might get some hate in the comments on this, is that this guy's had injury history his whole career. And now we're going to force feed him the ball as much as possible because we've got nowhere else to give it. And it's his contract year. And we're supposed to expect that he's going to stay healthy all season. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket on that one. I'd much rather have the 3 that you have there.
CMC is kind of in the similar position as well.
No, because they don't give him the ball. They don't pass him the ball. I mean, Baker Mayfield just pump fakes it and runs. I hate that offense.
Baker. Yeah, Bryce, I think it probably hurts your roster. I would it depends on the rest of your roster and your record and a couple of things. Pierce, Singletary, Akers at flex. I go Pierce.
What's your thoughts on Akers and Henderson rest of the season?
Well, there's a couple of things, right? I said coming in the season, you should probably draft Henderson. He's a much cheaper draft value.
Yeah.
And I think you have a chance to still get the RB1 for the Rams. But then I also said, like, I was proud of that after week 1 and week 2. And I was like, but I kept saying at any moment, Sean McVay can flip a switch and Akers can be the guy. And we're starting, I think we saw that switch get flipped because he's led the backfield in touches.
It doesn't really make sense though, like why that happened. And I also think, how long does it stay this way? Like Akers,
that's the other.
He doesn't look great. You know what I mean?
15 rushes for 44 yards in week 2.
Like that's terrible.
12 rushes for 61 yards in week 3 and a score, but he had a fumble, so he only got you 9.1 fantasy points. and he had no receptions, so that was in PPR and standard and half PPR. 61 yards on the ground and a touchdown. You're still netting under 10 fantasy points is not great. But that's the bigger issue with Akers is we might see Hendo get the rock this week. Singletary, it really depends on the game script. Like last week, what he had 30 points. He had a crazy game
out last week. Yeah.
But it's just it's not consistent. And Pierce is probably the guy I go with because you get you get the safest floor and the most consistent stat line. So, as a CMC Monty Swift owner, what do I do this week if they are out? I have Walker and Rachaad White on bench. McKinnon, Ingram, Pirine, Moss, Burkett, Eno are the only options. Yeah, I do think that majority of these players will play. I think your biggest issue is Swift. I would probably pick up McKinnon or Ingram, because they at least give you a shot.
Yeah.
They have the best chance out of the waiver wire to score. And McKinnon's got a tough matchup, but
Eno Benjamin's not terrible.
Yeah. McKinnon, I think there's a chance for a little trick play or shuffle play or Andy Reid play in the red zone. And I do think that's going to turn into a high scoring game. So, Walker and Rachaad White just aren't getting enough touches.
No.
You might have to drop a handcuff and go for a committee guy like McKinnon or Ingram. But just give it some time. Give it some time here because you got a couple of days to make this, to see what happens, I should say.
Wait, let me ask you, what's your thoughts on Walker and that Penny situation? Do you have any interest in Penny? Do you have any interest in Walker? Or is this just a backfield that you don't have much of love for at all? I mean, we just talked about the Rams backfield, and now we're talking about another backfield. Walker scares me, to be honest.
I don't have love for this backfield at all. No.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah.
I don't like anything about it.
Walker doesn't look as fresh as I was expecting him to be, too. And I think the injury probably sent him back a little bit.
Yeah, I just don't like that backfield. I would rather have McKinnon.
Yeah. That's fair. He gets work. Yeah. He gets work.
Yeah. Even Ingram, I'd rather have Ingram than Walker right now. RB 1 and 2 are JT and CMC. If they flop, I'm gonna cry, dude. I think that's excellent. I think that's good.
It's borderline. That's you heisted the entire.
You basically got 1.1 and 1.2 and 99% of leagues. So 14-team league. Should I trade Hurts, Freiermuth, and Williams for Murray, Kelsey, and Ayuk?
No. There's not.
You should not.
There's not.
And a lot of times I'm you should make a move for Kelsey, but the side A is better than B for sure.
Yeah.
Murray's starting to be a little bit inconsistent too. I keep Hurts. Freiermuth is getting you a safe floor. Mike Williams is far better than Ayuk, so I would keep that first set. I have one spot open on my lineup, wondering who to play week 4. Richard James, Jerry Jeudy, or Dotson.
It's got to be Jeudy, right? But I tell you what, Richie James is pretty safe. Dotson, I don't love the Dotson matchup, though.
I don't love the matchup either.
I'd probably get Jeudy.
I'd probably still go Jeudy, but either any option's fine. I'd probably go Jeudy, though.
Yeah.
What's up, Bunny Hop? Hello. Pitts, Jeudy, Brown, Mixon, Herbert for Andrews, Johnson, CMC, who wins.
It's expanding.
There's a lot of names here.
I'll take the right side.
I probably would too, but it's a lot of depth.
Well, it's the trade, and then we just added in another piece, it looks like.
Yeah, you got CMC, then he added in Jeudy and Herbert, right?
I think I think. Yeah. I would take the deal at the end of the day. Herbert was not relevant a week ago.
Sure. Should I trade Keenan Allen for Ayuk and MT? You can. I'm not completely against it, Brandon.
I'd hold him.
I would probably hold Allen as well.
Yeah.
But if you really need depth at receiver, I'm not against it. Should I trade Matt Stafford for Dak if you have a RB or QB1 that you can play for now. Sure. Brings you some potential upside down the road. Unless
Stafford looks bad.
Stafford does look bad. Stafford's a sit for me this week.
Yeah, he looks bad. Yeah, this 49ers defense, I think, is going to do pretty well against them.
Yeah, I mean, he's QB 22. Yeah, if you have another quarterback you can play in the meantime, sure.
Yeah.
Playing in Yahoo and ESPN money leagues had Lance in both currently 1-2, 0-3. Question for my Yahoo league was counter offered Knox and Herbert for Waller. You can do that.
Oh, I like that. What are your thoughts on Waller, Johnny boy?
He's tied in 5 right now. I mean, he's living up to his draft value, you know. Yeah. Bad week in week 3 against Denver and Kansas City. The bye week, then Houston, New Orleans, Jacksonville, Indy coming up. I don't really care about matchups for Waller. Like, you would think Tennessee would have been his best game of the year, but he played his worst game of the year. So, Waller's. This is a good trade. Yeah, it's a good trade. Knox is very inconsistent and has a bad ceiling, unfortunately, and that pains me to say.
His hand, bro. You should have known.
I like that trade.
We don't need to get into that.
Freddie drafted Robinson at 10.7. He's a steal this year.
Isn't that crazy? That's where we could have gotten him.
Yeah. Should I trade Harrison Samuel for Sutton and Stevenson? I would say
that. I want that deal. I think Stevenson is going to be the guy we thought he was going to be.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel is like wide receiver 10 right now, but Sutton is very consistent. I worry
he's never been there like the whole time.
I worry about him getting injured, and I worry that Washington is gonna see a downtrend at some point in the season.
They will. They started off way too hot offensively.
Yeah. So I'd probably do this trade.
Well, because Ron Rivera is gonna get fired here sooner rather than later.
Who knows, dude? That organization's a joke. So.
Yeah, they are. No.
Diggs for Barkley. You got wide receiver 1 versus RB1.
I wouldn't do it still.
I don't know. I mean, depends on your roster. I'd probably hold Diggs up.
Yeah.
Probably hold Diggs. Should I trade Johnson, Penny, and Conklin for Fournette and Bateman? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good trade. For sure. Sell high on Conklin while you can.
Yeah, it's crazy that you can even sell high on that guy.
Rest in peace, Coolio. Yeah, I looked that up. Rest in peace for sure. Shout out to Coolio. I lined it up some before harassing John.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jane.
Mixon and Judy for CMC. I don't hate that. You can do that if you want. Depends on your roster.
I'd give it one more week before getting rid of CMC for an offer like that.
Yeah, it depends on your roster and everything. Hurts, Fearmouth for Murray and Kelsey.
Oh.
It's close. I probably hold Hurts. Hurts is like that guy right now.
I don't know. I think I'm actually going to take that. I think I'm.
It's not awful because
Kelsey's the best player in this whole group here, in my opinion.
That's probably true. The issue is Murray's going to be a little bit inconsistent, and I think Hurts is just going to be really consistent and have a higher ceiling. But Murray's still a good quarterback. He had a bad week 3, but
let's take out week 3. He had some good weeks in those first 2 weeks, and the Rams defense. McVay owns Cliff Kingsbury. Kyler had no shot in that game.
That's probably true. It's a pretty good trade.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good trade, actually. I'd probably do it. Well, 0-3 for some reason because I feel my team is solid. Wondering if I have the correct people in for week 4. Okay, we'll get to it in a second. Okay, we hit this one.
That's a cool picture of Waddle, his profile pic.
Pure eye on Wire. If he deserves a roster spot or belong there, probably deserves to be on the waiver wire. Anthony with the super chat. Thank you so much, man. Very, very kind to you. The $2 dono. What's up? McLaurin or Olave? I probably still go Scary Terry here.
I'm going Olave heavy this week.
Okay.
Man. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I like Olave.
London Love. I like that. Sounds sexy.
I mean, he's had 13 targets in the last 2 weeks, right?
He's a beast, man. And MT's banged up, bro. Feed the beast. Let's get it rolling.
That's true. I like Scary Terry even versus Dallas. I'm not against it.
I know.
I probably got Terry. Connor, Gibson, or Hall? I'd probably go Hall.
This is my running back core from a week ago. Yeah, got to be Hall here. I think this is the week, guys.
Steven says Olave. I say Scary Terry. We both agree on Hall. Thank you so much, Anthony, for the $2 super chat. Very, very kind of you. All right. Gosh, we're so behind. Joe Mixon and Brown for Barkley. I don't hate it. It depends on your roster. Like,
just because you call him John Mixon, I'll do that. I like because I feel like a John Mixon not as cool.
I didn't realize that.
Honestly, I think I would do that because I don't think I am as high on Brown rest of the season as maybe you are, because I think when Hopkins is back, this is going to be a totally different target share.
I was thinking it was AJ Brown, but that's a good point. I don't know if it's Hollywood. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, good point. If it's AJ Brown, I don't know, man. I don't think I'd be willing to shed any of my Eagles shares unless it's like in the last case for a guy like Kelsey.
Yeah. Derek Just with the super chat. Thank you so much, man. $5 dono. Very, very kind of you, bro. Traded Fournette and MT for Mixon and Deontay. Thoughts on trade? I'd probably rather have Mixon than Fournette, and I'd probably rather have MT than Deontay Johnson. But Deontay still brings a really safe floor, so I like the trade.
This is gonna be super. I almost don't want to say anything because I feel like it's gonna be totally contradictory. But I feel like I would have rather had Fournette than Mixon, and I would have rather had Deontay than MT. But I think ultimately, like this deal was one on your end. I think you got more consistent value because the difference between Mixon and Fournette, I don't think are that big. But I do think Deontay, and dude, I hated on Deontay this offseason. I still think he's going to be way more consistent than MT rest of the season.
Sure. It's tough. I mean, it's a pretty even trade overall.
It's a good trade. It's a good trade. I mean,
so Derek, I think you had to ask yourself the question: do you believe in the Bengals and the Steelers offense more than the Bucs and the Saints offense, from the running back and the receiver position? And if you do, then I think you're in a good spot, because I think this is very close. Like, MT's playing good football, don't get me wrong, but he's a little banged up on a week-to-week basis, right? And then Deontay is playing good football, but his ceiling's just capped, right? I like Mixon a hair more than Fournette, but they're both fine. So if you feel like you're in a good place here, then I think it's a good trade for sure. Derek, thank you again for the super chat. Very kind of you, man. Very kind.
Big time.
Richard James, Jerry Jude, or Dotson. I think we hit this one. I think we agreed on Judy. Yeah. Should I start Madison if Cook is out? Yes.
Big time. And then get a whole plate of cheese and watch that man rip it up.
Yeah, if he's not out, then probably not. Herbert and Hollywood for St. Brown. I think that's fine.
Unless it's the Bears St. Brown, John. Unless it's what is that guy's name? Is it his brother, right? Or is it his cousin?
Yeah, they're brothers. I think they're brothers.
That's one of those situations. Yeah, I think they are. At least somebody. I feel like
they're related. I know that much, but it's on Hard Knocks.
Said it or something. Yeah,
it was on Hard Knocks. They were working out with their dad, who's a ex-pro bodybuilder, scary guy. But yeah. But yes, Ramon Ross St. Brown. That's fine. Would you trade Smith and Kamara for Mixon and McLaurin? I probably wouldn't. It's close. You probably get an upgraded running back. And you get I think McLaurin's upside's capped. Smith has far more upside. I'm on the Eagles, man. I'd probably hold Smith and Kamara.
Yeah,
but it's not a bad trade.
I feel like if you're trying to find a trade here, maybe try to shop Kamara by himself, and just see what you can get. Because I think there's going to be a lot of people you can do with that name, and you better do it now as opposed to wait a couple weeks when people find out this guy's past his due.
Yeah. Still nervous about giving Higgins for Brees. It depends on your roster. It could be good, could be bad. I guess that's the answer to every question.
My face looked like I was having a heart attack. You were like,
my team is Jackson, Swift, Hendo, Walker, Robinson, Brown, Chase, Conklin, Hollywood, Higgins, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson. I mean, your receivers are just absolutely loaded. So
I love the Jets on this team, man. A lot of Jets love.
I mean, if you gave up Hall for Higgins, I don't think you needed to. Especially with Swift being hurt, you have too many receivers. Like, you can't start A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, Hollywood Brown, Higgins, Amon-Ra, and Garrett Wilson or Elijah Moore on a weekly basis. You know, and then you look at your running backs. Like, with Swift out, you got Henderson and Walker. Like, I probably would have, if you did trade. If I'm reading that right, if you did trade away.
No, I thought it was the other way around. It was the other way around.
Okay, so you're asking. Okay, I've seen it in the chat. I'm getting Brees giving away Hall. Giving away Higgins, right?
That'd be interesting.
Listen, yeah, like on the season, overall, Higgins might be the better value. But for your roster currently, you need Hall, and you don't need Higgins.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay. And if he can get a nobody out of this trade, go for it. But, like, you will be fine with A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, Hollywood Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, and Elijah Moore, and then adding Hall to this roster.
Yeah, so, you'll be very, very good.
So you'll be all right. All right. Steve be looking like someone Steve Bashimi from memory. Jeez, why does everyone always comment Steven?
I like that comment, man. Hey, that's not an insult to me, man. Steve Buscemi's a beast, dog.
He is.
It's a G. Did you ever watch his show, the Boardwalk Empire or something? I never watched it. I always thought it'd be good.
Yeah, I've heard it's good. Let's see. J2, nice. I got AJ Brown and Jefferson as my starters and St. Brown at flex. Should I keep it like this? Other options are Connor, Patterson, Robinson, Allen. Yeah, you should definitely, like, the potential ceiling from Brown, Jefferson, St. Brown is stupid. If St. Brown doesn't play, maybe you go Allen. Yeah. But
if he plays.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like Patterson or Robinson, too.
I'd probably go Patterson here because of that matchup.
Yeah, and it's like you already have a really high ceiling with JJ and AJ Brown on your lineup, so I think Patterson is worth the risk. Is Devonta Smith boomer bust?
Yeah,
he is. Yeah, but he's a little bit safer in terms of some of the other boomer bust players out there. So
he's got a good boom.
Yeah, got a good boom. What's up? Timeout with Henry. How you doing, bro? Good to have you. Would you trade Eckler for Cook? I wouldn't personally. Cook more injury prone is the issue.
Yeah, I think I'm off Cook, man. I mean, I was trying to buy in a week ago, and then I don't know. I'm done. I'm just totally done with him now.
Yeah. All right, Chad. Trying to get caught up here. I already hit this. Did y'all trade JJ for Mixon and Pittman?
Nah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Steven.
That's tough.
I probably wouldn't trade JJ. Give JJ some time.
Yeah.
Give him a couple. You gotta give him a little bit more time. You could really regret this one. What's up, Bunny Hop? Said hi like 20 minutes ago. It's probably been like we're literally reading this comment like 16 minutes since it was out there. So should I start Kirk, London, or Hollywood Brown at flex? Oh God, that's tough. It's close here.
I think you got to go London. It's just I can't go away from Kirk, dude.
I probably have. I agree. You think you? I mean, he gets Darius Slay. It's tough, but like Kirk is a wide receiver. It's wide receiver. He's wide receiver 6. It's like I just don't know if you can bench him. And like good receivers do play well against good corners, but I mean Darius Slay is a good football player.
And then if he even gets the other matchup, he gets Bradbury. Like, I mean, he's got like really hard corners there. And then their safeties are no joke either. It's going to be a brutal matchup for the Jags. I do like Drake London. I would be fine with that one too.
London at the Browns is good, and Hollywood at the
That's
Panthers
not a good matchup.
That's not a good matchup. Well, I would say it's not awful, but
they do pretty good against the receiver position.
Kirk against the against the Eagles. Sorry, I'm having like an aneurysm. Is a worse matchup.
Yeah.
I probably go London, Hollywood, Kirk. But I was talking about this last night. Like I still don't want to bench Kirk.
I don't think you can.
I think he's playing good football, man. Here's the thing, right? If the Jaguars are really the team that we think they're becoming, they're going to keep this game competitive, and Kirk is going to draw enough targets.
I think they are for real. I think they proved that. I think that Chargers game, the way they did that right after what they did to the Colts, proved that. It's going to be competitive.
Would you guys rather pick up Doobie or Hall? The Breece Hall owner dropped him for Carter. I don't know why. I would pick up Hall. I like Doobie, but I pick up Hall.
And then you can send a message to that owner that he is a foolish owner.
Steven does not like Michael Carter.
So. No.
Should I trade Harris, Samuel, Conklin for Patterson, Godwin, and Knox? Yes.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yep. I would do that trade. Do you rather have Hall or Pierce?
Hall.
I'd probably rather have Hall.
Much more explosive player. Much more explosive player.
And probably not by much, but still part of a better offense. Not by much, but there's better skill position.
Splitting hairs.
Better skill position players on the Jets for sure. We'll see what Zach E. Wilson can do. Drafted Rams defense. Time to drop and start streaming.
I mean,
you can start them this week, but
yeah, and then you get the Cowboys and Carolina up on deck too. Those are pretty good matchups. I don't think these are a drop unless you've got better options out there.
Yeah. Do you think Keenan will produce? Because this kid that I'm reading with really wants Keenan, but it's better to hold him. I would hold Keenan Allen. Yeah, I give him some time. He hasn't been healthy. Give him some time. Do I give Javonte and Mike Evans for Jay Jettis? Yeah. I like that trade.
Yeah, I would do that.
That's a good trade, actually. Yeah. Trade Javonte. Trade him. What's up, Dicer? What's good, man?
Cracking.
Cowboys defense is out there. I kind of like the Rams slightly more right now.
Than the Commanders matchup this week?
I mean,
Cowboys defense be smacking them quarterbacks and Micah Parsons, bro.
That's true.
He be hunting, dog.
I dropped the Cowboys for the Packers in the league. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that was good. That was a good play, but we're talking. I mean, the Cowboys are good defense.
Man. They are.
And the 49ers, dude, they know how to play this Rams team.
But to say Cowboys or Rams, who do you like? You like the Cowboys more?
I like the Cowboys more, but I do like the idea of maybe having the Rams against the Cowboys and then the Panthers the following 2 weeks. But if you need an up type of game here, maybe take the Cowboys for the potential.
Yeah, Alex, I would do that trade for Waller for sure. Yeah. Do you think the Colts defense is extreme this week? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier.
No shot.
Singletary and Deontay Johnson for Chase. Yeah.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah. Have a good night, Bryce. Thank you for being here. What's up, Ewick? What's up? Yes, do this trade. Pick 2 running backs in a flex. Javonte, Jamal, Robinson, Pierce. Bench Javonte. Start the rest.
Jamal and Javonte.
What about the flex?
Pierce.
You're out on Robinson?
Just this week. I like Robinson a lot, but I think I think if anything, they need ETN more than Robinson this week. Because I think they'll be behind, and I think they'll be trying to get out in space rather than be going up the gaps against Fletcher Cox. And what's the big name fellow from Georgia?
Gosh, what is his name? I can literally thinking. I can see his face in my.
I can see his belly.
He's a big dude.
It's just I'm not really trying to take that matchup. Robinson could definitely still get a touchdown, but I don't think the efficiency's gonna be there.
Sorry, I really wanted to answer this. Javon Hargrave, right?
No, he is a dog too. There.
Jordan Davis.
Yes, Jordan Davis. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Jordan Davis, he might be the third stringer on this too. Yeah. Dude, they're insanely deep.
I would bench Javonte. Jay Spittle, what's up, man? I'm streaming defenses every week right now. I have the Ravens and Bengals defense.
Oh.
Who should I start or who should I pick up? Broncos, Colts, Lions, Vikings, or roll the dice with the Jets?
Some rough options, huh? Well, this is what you can do. First off, you can grab the Ravens and bury them in the lake somewhere. And then with the Bengals against the Dolphins, I'd not play them this week. I'd probably just go to the Broncos here against the Raiders, who have been sneaky good this season. Been the only thing good about this Broncos team.
Yeah, the pass rush is good, at least.
Yeah.
You know, Randy Gregory and Bradley Chubb are playing good football. So,
yeah,
that aspect is good.
Yeah.
That's probably who I go with, too. And, of course, Stevens must-start defenses are out for the week. So if you guys want extra defensive advice, go check those videos out, of course, as well. There's some good streaming options in here. Goodbye, Andrew. I know you're already long gone, but goodbye. Kirk and Najee for Eckler and Thielen. I prefer the Kirk side.
Yeah.
Ayuk, Dubes, Moores, Jones, Godwin. If Godwin plays, probably Godwin. If not, Doobie. And then probably Ayuk, because the Rams are 31st against opposing receivers.
Yeah, very weird.
And I really like Ayuk this week. Penny, Hendo, Walker, Hendo.
I'll go Penny against the Lions.
That's fine too.
And just hope it happens.
That's fine. We're gonna try and start to move through these a little bit quicker, not give as deep of analysis. So sorry, guys, but we are almost an hour and a half in, and we're way behind on chat. Full PPR 10 teams. Start 2: Dylan, Javonte, Edmonds, Hines. Dylan and Javonte. You could go Edmonds over Dylan, but I'd probably go Dylan and Javonte. Trade package of Mike Williams, Jeff Wilson. What receiver should I try to get in full PPR? I mean, it just kind of depends, Miles. It kind of depends on what you think you can get. The biggest thing when it comes to trades, guys, in my opinion, outside of your full roster, is you got to look at the other roster that you're trading with, because it's hard to say. You could get a plethora of different players. Jeff Wilson's your starting running back for the Niners for the next coming weeks, and Mike Williams is still he's wide receiver 36, but he's still Mike Williams. Maybe you can get Cooper. That'd be a good trade. You could probably get Pittman, probably get Higgins, but it's just kind of we're just throwing darts. You got to look at teams in your league that you think you can make a realistic move for. Maybe there's probably a team out there that's got 6 or 7 receivers. That's the team you want to look at here. Would you do Russ and Carter for Tua? Sounds like a Steven trade.
I may have offered that before.
Yeah. If you don't need Carter, sure. I do think we need to be careful with Tua. I like Tua. Don't get me wrong. But we've seen week 2 happen in week 2, and outside of that, he hasn't been very relevant from a fantasy perspective. He's playing good football. Is he extremely relevant in fantasy? Will he be extremely relevant in fantasy is a question. I think it's being inconsistent. I warned you guys. I didn't like Tua going up against the Bills last week, and then I kind of flopped a little. This defense is really banged up. I think he's fine if you have to, and he didn't perform really, But he played good football.
This week's going to be interesting with the injury. I don't know.
Then short week, going against the Bengals Thursday night.
He only had a storm. They had to leave Florida, I guess, early too. It's kind of a weird situation.
He's QB5, but he had 13
one game. How old are you?
13.8 points in week 1, 11.4 in week 3, 40.8 in week 2. So, like, you're losing some depth here. Do you like Tua more than Russ and you don't need Carter? I say go for it. But you gotta understand, guys, like, I love Tua. That's my guy. Okay, go back and find like our first stream ever.
John has like a poster of him like right above his bed.
I'm the OG Tua supporter, but he's gonna be inconsistent for you guys for sure. And I'm not hating on Tua, but from a pure fantasy perspective, he will be inconsistent. We can't deny it. They're gonna drop in Gallup because I have Schultz. Not gonna play both. Who should I pick up between Dortch, Rondell, Richie James? I'd probably go Richie James. Guys, Richie James is wide receiver 1.
John, you traded for Dortch, didn't you?
I love Dortch.
Dortch.
I love me some Dortch. I traded for CEH.
And Dortch.
And Dortch was part of the package. I do like Dortch. It's going to be interesting when Rondell Moore is ready to go. But I think he's carved out enough of a role within this offense where at least in full PPR, he's still relevant. So yeah. I do like Dortch, but the issue, like you're even putting Rondell on here, is like they're going to eat into each other's targets. So yeah. I'd probably go Richie James because Richie James is a wide receiver 1 on paper, but he's Daniel Jones throwing the football. You know? Yeah. Traded away Terry, Kareem, Madison for Eckler. It depends on your roster. It's a pretty good haul.
I think it's W.
I like Eckler, so I'm not against it. You know, not against it. If your roster looks okay, I'm good about it. I'm good with it. After the review, what's up, man? Hello. Okay, we hit this one. I can't tell if we're getting duplicates in the chat or people are asking this twice. I mean, it doesn't matter either way, but it does kind of mess up the chat here. Okay. Would you trade CeeDee Lamb and Pickens for Kamara? I'm deep in wideouts for Kirk. Have Kirk, Amon-Ra, Ayuk, Treylon Burks, Romeo. I got JT, Dillon, and Eno. Then, yes.
I don't think I would do it for Kamara, man.
Here's what I'll say. You should be able to trade CeeDee Lamb for Kamara straight up. And, like, you don't – like, Pickens, you don't really need it doesn't really hurt you probably, but like Steven said, you could probably trade CeeDee Lamb for a better running back.
I wouldn't trade him. That I look at your receiving core. It's deep, but trust me, one injury and it's not deep.
Yeah, and St. Brown's already hurt, so like, you're relying on Ayuk, Burks, and Doobie.
You're relying on Kirk, who you drafted in probably the 8th round. I understand Amon-Ra was like 7th, or no, it was way earlier than that. But my point is like, keep your guy. One injury can change your team.
I'd probably hold here as well.
Yeah.
I kind of like you're starting JT, you're just rotating an RB2. I think is probably better. All right, let's see. Tua or Lawrence? Probably go Lawrence.
Yeah, actually, no. I'm going to.
Okay, it's just tough. Like on the short week, I got a bad feeling about Tua this week.
I'd probably not want to take either, but definitely not Lawrence. I don't think this is going to be a good game for him.
That's fair.
And I'll eat crow if I'm wrong.
Literally on live stream, Steven's going to eat crow.
But actually, please, that made me sick just thinking about it. So no.
I got Eckler, Najee, Javonte, J-Rob, and Dillon. I think we hit this. No, we didn't. Eckler, Najee, Javonte.
Yeah, same question.
J-Rob's fine too, but his matchups is tough. Yeah. Good night, J-Dubs. Love you, bro. Have a great night.
Good luck at the job.
Yeah, congrats on the new job, man. Let's go. Would you trade Dalvin and Madison? Was thinking about sending Akers. Would you trade for Dalvin and Madison? Sorry. Thinking about sending Akers, Herbert, Thomas, and Higgins. Whoa. So
I don't hate that, honestly.
You should be able to get one more player out of this.
Try to get like a receiver or something.
Yeah. Replace one of the receivers, and I'm fine with the trade. Like you're getting better RB value for sure. Replace one of the receivers though, even if they're your bench players. Don't hurt your bench. If you have a deep bench, it's a good thing. I get it. And then you're like, oh, I'm gonna trade these players. But like Steven alluded to in the last trade question, 1 or 2 injuries, and you're gonna want that bench back real quick. So having Thomas and Higgins on the bench is an advantage. Would y'all trade Chubb and Smith for Mixon and Pittman? No. I would not. Steelers, Lions, Cards, Titans, Jets need to stream this week for Tampa. I would go with the Steelers or Cardinals.
Yeah. You can take a shot with the Titans against the Colts, but I'd probably go Cards or Colts. Cards or Steelers.
Yeah.
Jeez. Steelers suck, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they do kind of suck. Yeah. I got to replace them in like every league I'm in.
Yeah.
It really disappointed me after that week 1.
It's a really bad week to stream defenses too, man. Some of these options suck. I will say this. You said need to stream this week for Tampa. No, you don't. I would start Tampa here, honestly. Against Kansas City. You heard it here first. I would do that. Even the Colts put up a decent number against the Chiefs, man. This Bucs defense is no joke, and they've got great matchups coming up.
Yeah, I might keep Tampa. That's a good point. Good point. Would you trade Pitts and Bateman for Higgins and Hall? Depends on your roster. I consider it. It's an even trade. Depends on your roster.
Yeah.
What up, Chase? What's good, man? Let's see here. Pick 2 for my flex: McLaurin, Williams, Madison, Pierce, Boyd, Thomas, Pitts. Williams if Swift doesn't play. Madison if Cook doesn't play. It's just hard because those players have to sit. If not, then I think you can still go McLaurin or even Boyd or even Thomas. I'd probably go Thomas if he's healthy, and then one of the 2 handcuffs there. Who should I flex? Doobie, ETN, Hall, Bateman, Madison, Singletary, Dotson, Bateman. Yeah, I like Bateman this week.
Yeah, he's a great matchup this week.
Yeah. Any advice on my roster? Carr, Eckler, Hall, Evans, Davis, Pittman, Goddard, McKenzie, Gage, Dillon, Dortch, Hines, Danny Hill. I think your lineup is just fine as it is.
Perfect. Yeah.
You're fine. You're fine, Chase. In a good spot, bro. Should I trade CH Carter and Cooks for Javonte? No. You get one more player.
If you put another player in that package, I would do it.
Yeah, get one more player. But also, like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is better than Javonte.
I'll tell you what, the way he's being used, I really love to see it.
Yeah. I agree with this after the review. I'm back. Would you do Brown and Judy for St. Brown? It depends on which Brown is it. Is it Hollywood or AJ
Brown? No, I still wouldn't do it though, man. I'm not trading him on my St. Brown.
I want him on my team too. What's up, Derek? Hey, man.
What's up, dude?
What's up, AD? Salute. Hit the thumbs up for the catch. We missed you tonight, Derek. What's up? Hey, Derek. Did you follow the catch on Instagram, or is that a different Derek? By the way, guys, if you follow us on Instagram and your page is actually doesn't matter if it's private or not, just comment on something and say like, "Yo, this is Derek Lincoln from YouTube," because when you guys have different Instagram names, different YouTube names, different Discord names, different Twitter names, like I want to follow you back and interact with you guys. But I don't follow, like, there's a lot of just like random pages and like crap, and I don't know if it's you guys. Derek saying in the chat, that isn't me. Okay, cool. I couldn't tell. And if it was you, I wanted to follow you back, is all I'm saying. And Derek's not anything except for YouTube, so that's a bad example. But if you guys follow us on Instagram, just let me know so I can say what's up. FBA 7B1 with the super chat. We'll get through this, and I think Steven's going to bounce. Very, very kind of you, man. Thank you for the $5 dono. Thank you so much, man. Flex Gabe Davis or Devonta Smith this week, League 1. Other league, Stevenson or Breece Hall. Woo! I probably go Gabe Davis.
Yeah, man, I really like Gabe Davis this week. Definitely gonna push all my chips in on him this week. And then in terms of the other league, that's a really tough one, man. I swear I got asked this in one of the comments earlier, and I went Stevenson just because of game script, but it was so tough. I really do think that Stevenson might get a lot of work just because that Packers run D has been really brutal so far. And obviously, with the quarterback situation, they might need to rely on getting the dump offs early. But I've been saying it too. Brees Hall breakout. It's coming this week. I think I'd still say Gabe Davis and Stevenson.
Oh, you like Stevenson more than Hall?
I know, it's a surprise, but I just think that this week is going to be consistent for that. But the ceiling is probably higher with Brees Hall. I mean, when you look at Brees Hall, at least in half PPR, he's had like 12 and a half points. PPR has obviously been higher, so he's been good. And I think that we could see a 20-point game potentially this week. But I just think Stevenson's going to be really critical to this Pats offense this week just because of everything going on.
I like Hall.
Yeah, that's fair. And honestly, I kind of do too. Maybe it's because I'm scared to fully put all my chips in on Brees Hall, but dude, I really feel the breakout coming out.
I would go Hall and Gabe Davis, but I
Yeah.
don't mind at all if you go Devonta Smith. I just like the matchup, man. I like the matchup a lot. For Gabe Davis, for Stephon Diggs, for Bateman, for Duvernay, for Mark Andrews. Maybe not for Dawson Knox, but for every Bills, Ravens receivers, and Mark Andrews and Jackson and Allen, they're going to have good games, undoubtedly.
It's going to be a tasty treat to watch, that's for sure. I can't wait to lather myself up in butter and just watch that game, man. It's going to be fun.
Well, Steven's got to sign off, and that's a good way for Steven to exit. I'll finish out the chat here, and we'll start to wrap up in general, but Steven's got to go ahead and bounce. So, Steven, I'll let you say your goodbyes.
Yeah, peace, guys. It was a blast tonight. Got to chat some good old football Q&A. Johnny boy, are we still rolling tomorrow more than likely before the good? Because I want to talk that game a lot. I'm very pumped for it. I mentioned it earlier. So I'm really interested in tomorrow, just kind of getting to shoot the shit with you before that. And I need to get some good food in me too, because I had eggplant this week, bro. Let me just tell you what, eggplant is not pizza. All right. For anybody out there who didn't know that. Okay. So I love you guys. It's been a blast. Jane, hope you get your ass kicked. And Derek, love you, man. Thanks for the shout out there.
Yeah, we'll be on together 7 p.m. Eastern time to 8 p.m. Eastern time before kickoff tomorrow night as well. So for those of you guys who want to see Steven again, we'll be on tomorrow night. And I'm going to
go immediately signs off.
yeah, Craig's out of here. So, all right, Steven, we will talk to you tomorrow, man. Thank you for being here and giving your fantasy advice tonight, man. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Absolutely, man. All right, love you, John. Love you guys. Have a great night.
Love you, bro. Peace. Ooh, I'm really big here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and finish out the chat, guys, and we'll sign off for the night. So let's see what we got here. All right, Mixon or Eckler? I go Eckler. Trade Mixon for Henry and CD? Yes. Yeah, I like that trade a lot, Jason. I like that trade a lot. Oh, now that Steven's gone, I'm gonna take these off. Wow, that feels so much better. Okay. Trade Damien Pierce for Cooper? Yeah, I mean, if you don't need Pierce, it's a good trade for sure. Start to RB, Jamal Williams, Pierce, Javonte. If Swift doesn't play, Williams and Javonte. Ayuk or Doobie for the week? I'd probably go Ayuk. It's a really good matchup versus the Rams. Pierce for Cooper straight up is a good trade. Yeah, if you're getting Cooper, it's a good trade. Start two, Mixon, Eckler, Singletary, Jamal, Madison. Probably Eckler and Jamal Williams if Swift doesn't play, but Mixon could have a good game here as well. So you could definitely consider Mixon, but I think you just got to start. You got to start Eckler, man. Diego, appreciate you following us on Instagram. Link is in the chat. or in the chat. Link is in the description down below for anyone who wants to follow. Last year, it boomed so hard. Herbert, Saquon, Javonte, CD, Chase, Andrews. I forgot anybody else, but that year, that team this year wins again. Steven's awkward. Yeah. Let's see here. Injuries. What's up, Joe? Might clarify this, but I need a receiver in a flex. Amon-Ra, Mike Williams, Olave, Connor. Okay, so yeah, injuries would probably clarify this. It's a good point. If Amon-Ra is healthy, you start him. But if not, I think you just go Mike Williams and Olave. I want to see a little bit more of a sample size out of James Conner before we start rolling with them too heavily. Let's see here. This week I'm going to climb to the top of the Catch family. I hope so, man. Yeah, I posted all the results. Like I'm just posting all the results for the Catch Fam League on Discord on a weekly basis, so you guys can see who has the most points and everything, and how each specific league is doing for the tournament. Excuse me. Mr. Sarcastic's number 1 overall right now. Number 1 in his respective league and in points scored. Flex 1, Pierce, Curtis, Wilson, Ayuk. Man, I do like Ayuk this week. I think he's having a good week, but I probably go Curtis Samuel. Damien Pierce is fine too. All right, at the bottom of the chat, let's do it. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll wind things down. I got to be up a little bit earlier tomorrow, and I still got to finish up our quarterback video for the week. And it's a good stopping point. We're almost 2 hours in, so a great fantasy Q&A segment tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to all the new subscribers. We had a couple of super chats tonight as well. Thank you guys so much for the donos. Thank you guys for all the new subscriptions. Like I said, appreciate you guys. Welcome to the Catch Fam. Y'all know what to do, man. Hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button. Of course, if you're new and you tuned in, if you guys watch this retrospectively, feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to 2022 fantasy football season down below. We have starts and sits for running backs and receivers out for the week. We have must-start defenses and must-start kickers out for the week. So make sure you guys go check those out when you can. I should have starts and sits for quarterbacks dropping tomorrow, then starts and sits for tight ends dropping on Friday. I'm not crazy about Hayden Hurst or Mike Gesicki in this matchup, just so you guys are aware. And yeah, so that should do it. Let's see here. We'll hit another question before we sign off. Chubb and Smith for Metcalf, Pittman, and Mixon. It's a pretty good haul. But I'd probably keep Chubb and Smith. I'd probably hold here. If you really need receiver help, maybe, but I probably keep Chubb and Smith overall. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, quarterbacks, tight ends dropping over the next 2 days. Running backs, receivers, starts and sits are out. Kickers and defense must starts are out. Hit us in the comments if you guys need anything. Make sure to join our Discord. Link is in the description down below. Completely free to join. That way you guys can connect with the community and ask fantasy questions whenever you guys need to. We have a very active Discord community. And follow us on Instagram. Check out all the links down below. And that'll do it for the night. So we'll be on tomorrow before kickoff, 7 p.m. Eastern time till 8 p.m. Eastern time for some Thursday night fantasy Q&A. All right, thank you guys so much, man. Thank you guys for everyone who was here tonight. Y'all know who you are. Way too much in the chat that I can't shout everyone out, but thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to all the new subscribers, and we'll be on tomorrow night. And that'll do it, man. So with that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on the Catch. And peace.